Hello, Lynn.
Hello, Clay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, listeners.
Welcome back to Fundraising is Funny.
It is.
It is funny.
It is. And just some days, laugh or cry, laugh through crying, throw up, laugh, cry, all the feelings sometimes.
Laugh just because.
Snicker.
You need
snort.
to. Yeah. Oh gosh, we should do a whole thing on all of the synonyms for laughter.
Like
snicker, snort,
chuckle,
snorfle.
Snarfle's a good one.
Snarfle. Guffaw.
Oh, a guffaw.
A good guffaw is just soul cleansing.
What about a tee-hee?
Tee-hees are good giggles.
Tee-hee.
Grins. Yeah.
I do like S and G's.
Yes, I do too. Yes, just for S's and G's.
I'm a very naughty girl.
I have toyed with the idea for years of doing a fundraising synonym. What do you call this? Oh, a thesaurus? Because I promise you.
Synonym book.
A synonym.
But we couldn't say a synonym book because I feel like synonym is a really big word to put with that.
So it is.
Be like kind of like it book.
Like, sort of sounds like.
Kind of like.
Yeah.
I'm a really good metaphor person.
What's a metaphor?
Well, a metáfora, as Pablo Neruda might say.
Yeah, there you go.
Un metáfora. A metaphor is like when you say, it's like two pigs dancing under a blanket, but that's a simile.
That's a simile. No, what's a metaphor?
Well, a metaphor technically is when you're doing a comparison, right? And you apply a word or phrase to something that's not, right?
No, silly. What's a metaphor? To keep cows in.
A metaphor. Wow. I got Clay earlier today. So many of y'all know I live on an island, and I got him because he got me. He got me on that one, but he got me. But I got him earlier because I said, "Hey, Clay, what's a pirate's favorite letter?"
Arr.
No, C, you silly.
Oh.
C, you silly.
It's good. The dad jokes are flying.
We digress. But you know what? We're a little daffy around here.
We are.
It's the afternoon. We've had some root beers. Root beers.
Root
beer.
Root beers.
Root beer like roof.
Rough.
And roof.
When you wash your clothes in the creek.
Yep.
I love regionalisms. I love them. Right.
And I've tried to lose certain phraseologies, but I haven't. But we're a little daffy around here.
A little daffy? Like Daffy, like the duck. Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck or DAF. Meaning short for donor advised fund.
You know what's funny?
The fact that billions of dollars, trillions of dollars are sitting in donor advised funds and not going to charities. That
donor advised funds are hilarious. And I can feel actually through the podcast webs.
Do you hear the anger?
I can hear people laughing, crying. Hey, Clay and Lynn, explain to us why DAFs are funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about DAFs, shall we? Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear a story?
We can talk about it, or you can just tell me a bedtime story.
I'm going to tell you. Well, it's not a bedtime story.
Oh, this one's going to make me mad, isn't it?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, it'll make you laugh a little bit.
So many billions.
So many billions. Right. So, very fortunate. One time, I was chief development officer, and we received a very chief
development officer.
That's that whole other episode we need to do about titles.
We do need to work on that.
Yeah. Anywho, so very fortunate to have received a lovely gift from a new donor that was significant enough that it made us all really sit up and take notice from a brand new donor that we didn't know.
So you got a lovely gift from a donor.
We received a lovely first-time gift, didn't know the donor, had no idea how he was related to us, etc. Did our research, did our due diligence, of course, right? Followed up with gratitude, Absolutely. All the things. Scheduled meetings to meet with them. To make a very long story short there,
okay.
That donor, that gift was actually a, hey, hello,
Yeah.
Hi, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
And the relationship went very well. He ultimately joined our board.
Oh.
Which was lovely.
So he waved high in a big way.
He did. Now, it wasn't overnight. Obviously, it took some time, and there were
no. But this takes time.
Public service announcement.
Yes.
If I say hello in the context of a song, and you think Lionel Richie and not Adele, it's time to schedule your colonoscopy. Just saying.
And
PSA.
you really should take care of your health. Colonoscopies, regular mammograms, pap smears.
Absolutely.
PSA tests for those of you that have a prostate.
Because we need you healthy, both physically and mentally. So long term, right? And he joins our board, and of course, then made the gift as part of his board, which was very generous, which he made from his organization. So, right, he made the personal gift from his personal, right, and then made a gift, his board gift. Now, what we didn't know was that he and his partner, his girlfriend at the time, they used the term partner, was very into children's education programs.
Okay.
And she made a gift.
Okay.
Specific to the education funds.
Supporting her partner.
Yeah.
His involvement, but she also cared.
I mean, she knew that he was involved. This was before he joined the board. So, I'm mixing up the story in the sake of time for a little bit here. But, yeah.
Time is really not that relevant some days.
But she knew that, and we hadn't met her and all of that. Different name, made it through the donor advised fund.
Different name than him. I would hope she would have a different name, like they weren't both Jack Pratt.
No.
Different
right.
last name.
Different last name, yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I was thinking, could it be weird? So, small diversion. When I was in high school, there's a boy and his name was Tommy Lynn. And I used to dream in my notebook about being Lynn. Oh. And I don't mean that but Lynn, it was Lynne, Lynn.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was the dream.
It's a good dream.
I don't know whatever happened to Tommy Lynn. So Tommy, if you're out there, I had a crush on you just so that we could have my same. I liked my name a lot. Lynn.
I'm just going to call you Lynn squared from now on.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
There we go.
We digress. So his partner's girlfriend made a gift.
Through
and of course, they don't share the same name like Lynn.
Right, exactly. It's a different last name. And it didn't, right? It didn't connect that, right? So fast forward.
So you get some random gift from a DAF, a donor advised fund.
Well, right. And it was restricted to a particular program.
And because it was a donor advised fund gift, we're not talking $50 here.
No, it was a nice size gift.
A nice little 4 or 5 figure gift.
It was again.
Lovely.
It was lovely.
Lovely.
Right. Well, so our systems didn't catch this, our quote unquote systems.
Ruh-roh.
So now think about this. We have a couple. We have one gift from his personal.
Yeah.
Right. We have another gift from his business.
Oh, Lord.
We have then a third gift from a donor advised fund.
We are just wanting a mistake.
With the same household.
Can you imagine the horror if you even tried to do a donor list with that scenario?
Oh, well, it gets better.
Oh, no.
Try reporting on donor retention in your new fiscal year.
Oh.
And guess who looked like they were an unrenewed lapsed donor?
Board member.
Ding, 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 ding.
Board member.
So the point of the story here is DAFs.
They can get daffy sometimes.
They can get daffy sometimes. Now, let's talk about that $1 trillion or so sitting in DAFs. And let's talk about donors like DAFs.
And the rise in DAFs over the last 10 years.
And they're not even just restricted to wealthy people.
No. However, they are a wonderful indicator.
Yes.
Right? Of, hey, if I have a donor advised fund, I would say, maybe you go along this river with me, but 8 or 9 times out of 10, I have a money manager.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not at a community foundation.
No, but some form
fund.
of.
But if my donor advised fund is at Fidelity.
Right.
Or, what's the one my dad has that's the bull? Morgan Stanley.
Oh,
or
now I see the logo. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
It's I've seen it on the stationery at the house, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, Dad, never mind.
But there's multiple ways now.
But maybe I'm saying community foundation, you don't necessarily have to have a wealth manager to set up a fund, but they do have
No.
minimums.
Yeah,
you can't
sure.
just walk in with $50 and be like, I want a
Sure.
fund, right? But it's a large indicator of at least some planning, financial planning.
It's an indicator of financial planning. It's an indicator that there's some intention there.
Ooh, what a good indicator. Ooh. What if, Clay,
Yes.
a DAF gift was a big, yellow, bright, sparkly flag that said, ripe for planned giving.
Absolutely. Right?
And donors do love a donor advised fund.
Sure.
I don't have one, but
Now,
I do know people that do, and they love it.
I know many families that have donor advised funds that are very intentional about it. And listen, I am still enough of a Pollyanna, even after 30 plus years in this business, that I am just going to hold on to the idea that people do put money in their DAFs, in their donor advised funds, with every good intention. That right now, at this moment, I'm not entirely sure what charity I want this to go to, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in the DAF because I am going to release it.
You are Pippi Longstocking.
I am.
I enjoy that about you.
Truly.
I love my friends like you.
Listen, the day I give up on believing that donors are inherently generous
Don't stop believing, Clay.
is the day that I need to leave the sector.
I agree, but don't stop believing either because it's
shan't.
a fun song.
I shan't.
Oh.
I shan't. Yes. So the DAF.
Right.
Well, the DAFFY part of it here is, well, I guess it comes down to, what do you do with a DAF?
Well, you got to be careful with DAFs too.
Right.
Because remember, I've had people who have used DAFs in some interesting ways. And that makes me think, which makes me hungry.
Which, you know what I think it's time for?
Snacks.
Do you remember Laffy Taffy?
Oh, then I love it. Oh, the song or the
candy.
fake banana flavored Laffy Taffy.
Laffy Taffy. I think on a Daffy podcast, we need to have some Laffy Taffy.
When we come back,
Yes.
I'm going to give you one of my favorite Laffy Taffy jokes.
Okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the interesting things about donor advised funds and how people use them.
I like it.
Let's do it.
If my teeth aren't stuck together.
You do the Laffy Taffy. The Laffy Taffy.
Sing us out, Lynn. Sing us to break.
Laffy Taffy. You do the Laffy Taffy. It's the only lyrics I know from that
I love
song.
it. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So, Clay,
Mm-hmm.
before the break, I promised a Laffy Taffy joke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really the point of eating Laffy Taffy. Kind of like, did you ever used to have bazooka gum? And
Yes.
it was so hard
Yes.
and crusty.
Yes.
It even had like dust on it, it felt like.
Yeah.
But you ate it so you could get the comic.
I have TMJ today because of bazooka gum.
I love
Because ultimately it would go chewy, but by the time it went chewy, it had lost its flavor.
Did you ever have a pouch of Big League Chew?
I used to love the grape flavored Big League
So
Chew.
growing up, George Brett was my hero.
Uh-huh.
And my dad got to throw out the first ball
Uh-huh.
at a Kansas City Royals game. And there's a photo of me in George Brett's arms. Maybe we'll post it on the Fundraising It's Funny website. But I have a baseball signed by him. And I chewed Big League Chew because of George Brett. I now realize his was not gum and grape flavored.
George Brett. Is that a sports ball?
Oh, sorry. It's a sports ball hero thing.
Okay.
So I diverge.
Diverge.
I diverge. I divulge. I
Two
digress
podcasts diverged in the
in a
middle
wood.
of it.
And one was the less traveled by. And I think it's probably going to be ours.
And the Laffy Taffy made all the difference.
So the Laffy Taffy.
good
So
fences
they
make
had
good neighbors.
strawberry, grape, and that sickly banana
Yeah,
flavor.
awful banana
Do you
flavor.
remember banana flavored Runts?
No.
Runts, the candy. You got to
I
look
do
that
not
up. The banana
remember.
flavored
Nope.
ones are gross.
Nope.
My favorite Laffy Taffy joke. How do you make a tissue dance?
You put a little boogie in it.
I am back to being 7 years old and having
back
boogies.
to?
Well, boogers still are funny.
Aren't we still basically 7?
I am 9.5. Watch yourself.
I'm sorry.
I now Pokemon. I have, all these things. Fart jokes are still endlessly
Man,
funny.
we've covered everything. We've covered your diary, writing Lynn. Yes. So
it's a journey down Lynn Lane today.
Lynn Lane.
So we talk about DAFs.
We're talking about donor
going
advice
Daffy.
funds. Yes.
And one of the dangers with DAFs you have to make sure of, especially for you organizations that do events whether they be special
or mediocre
or mundane.
Meh.
Right? Is that, donors can't receive any benefit from their DAFs.
Correct.
So if you're at a university, they can't pay for their football tickets with their DAFs.
Correct.
Or basketball. Those are, again, the sports words.
Right.
Say you run a theater, they cannot go to the ballet or the opera with the DAF money. Can't do it.
No.
And they can't buy a table at your gala, or is it gala?
Yeah.
We don't say gala apples, do we? We say gala apples?
I say gala apples.
I don't say either because I'm a Honeycrisp girl till I die. And that is till I will die on. Right. Honeycrisp apples, come fight me. Sorry, nobody's probably fighting me.
Goodness, that was, oof.
I am passionate about Honeycrisp.
Clearly.
They are $9 million, but they are worth every penny.
There you go.
Honeycrisp apple and some peanut butter, fight me.
I'm not going to fight you on this.
Okay, sorry. I get really militant about my apples because they're never mealy. And there's nothing worse than a mealy apple. So they can't pay for things. Like, it's not a gift card at Saks. You can't just pay for things.
Right.
And so nonprofits sometimes aren't educated on that. And they don't know.
Lynn, would you be up to, and I realize we didn't talk about this in prep.
Oh, bless it.
But would you be up for just a really quick rapid fire here towards the end of our, just to kind of wrap things up on DAFs?
Yeah.
Real quick. Okay, so if I receive a gift from a DAF, I am a nonprofit. Do I receipt that gift?
No, you can't do that because the donor already got a receipt.
There we go.
What you can do is send them a lovely thank you, but never include the dollar amount of the gift.
I was just going to say,
your thank you should never include the dollar amount to begin with, and that's another episode.
That is a whole other episode. Okay, so I receive a gift from a DAF, and the paperwork that comes with the donor advised fund does not tell me who the donor is. It just says you've received this gift from, XYZ.
Yeah, and they don't say it's anonymous, of course. They just say,
right.
Well, there's this new invention called a telephone or an email. Most of them come with email addresses to the DAF.
Yep.
And you're going to want to contact.
So you're saying it's okay for me to reach out to the donor advised fund company, like
so? Not only is it okay, but in America, in the United States, technically you cannot receive cash or money without knowing its origin. So I guess the origin would be Fidelity, but technically you need to find out who the originating donor was in order to keep track of it, especially if it's over $9,999.
Wow. Good.
I'm a nerd for rules.
Okay.
Just like if you got a stock transfer of $13,000, you have to know who that donor is, or you have to return the stock transfer.
Now, what if the paperwork says you received this gift and the donor has chosen to remain anonymous?
That's wonderful. Then you can book that to your anonymous account in your CRM or your database.
There you go.
But again, you want to try to find out who that is for many reasons, right?
Sure.
And so... but if the donor wants to remain anonymous, that's certainly their right and their preference.
Absolutely it is. All right, now here's the tricky one, and this is going to cause a little controversy, and we're not going to take a whole lot of time
Controversy.
Here. How do I record this gift in my database? Who is the donor?
The donor is the name of the donor advised fund. Fidelity, Charitable, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, and you soft credit the human being who recommended that gift. So if Clay Buck sent it to me from his Fidelity account, Fidelity is the donor. Clay Buck is soft credit or recognition credit. And I need to make sure I include Clay's whole household.
Yep.
So if he had a boyfriend, a husband, a spouse, someone like that, that's
a partner who was making restricted gifts to the education fund, maybe,
absolutely.
Perhaps? Okay, now I will insert that there are people, I'm not going to name names, but they know who they are if they're listening. There are people who do this differently, and I will say that the key thing is confirm with your finance office and your auditors that you are entering it the way they require and they want it done according to IRS regulations.
And silly me, I like to follow the IRS, FASB, and other accounting standards.
And I have literally had people quote FASB saying this other way. I'm like, I'm not going to argue.
You can get anything to say anything you want it to say
there
sometimes.
You go.
However,
yes,
I'm not messing with the IRS.
Now, last question, right?
Yes.
Because I know this happens too.
Yes.
The paperwork goes to the finance office who deposits the check from the DAF. And you, as the gift entry person or the major gift officer, the fundraiser, you don't get that information from finance.
That's not cool.
Can I answer that one even though I asked?
Of course.
You march your happy little tail up to finance.
I have a happy little tail?
You have a happy little tail.
Oh my God. I've always wanted a tail.
Listen, I know, and we can do a whole other episode on this if anybody wants to, but I will go to my retirement saying the most important internal relationship a fundraiser can have is with your finance department.
Oh, I thought it was with the snack delivery guy or
that too.
The owner of the liquor store.
That too, but internal.
Oh, internal.
If you got a liquor store in your organization, are you hiring?
I was gonna say, who are you and how do we get sponsorship? We are always looking for sponsors here at Fundraising is Funny, and we do accept in-kind liquor donations. Beer and wine also.
Indeed. And
you know
I don't even drink, so I will share. Right. So, okay. So what's our takeaway? What's the punchline here?
So the punchline is that donor advised funds, while a little daffy to some people, are wonderful methods of accepting donations.
Absolutely.
But we have to be careful. We have to do our due diligence, just like we should with any gift.
Agreed.
But we need to make sure that when we're doing work with DAFs and other things like that, we are conscious of that this is a third party involved in a relationship, and that third party also should send us signals like, hey, this might be a good person for planned gifts.
Sure.
And then the other final thing is do your research.
Yep. What if I'm a little removed from that? What if I'm, over here and I don't do the gift entry? I don't see all the things.
You're over there?
I'm over here in gift entry and, advancement services is way over there. And I don't necessarily see it. Like what's the punchline there?
Well, I think one thing you could do is ask for a report.
There we go.
Of all of the gifts that come in via third party. Could be a family foundation.
Oh, good idea.
Could be a donor advised fund. Could be a community foundation. Could be something like matching gifts. And I know we'll probably do an episode on corporate matching gifts.
I'm sick that day, but yes, let's do that.
I'm sick that day too, because there's a word out there called benevity that I just don't want to talk about. Yeah, wow. I said a curse.
Well, and that's growing too. It's not just benevity anymore. So that's a little teaser for corporate giving that we'll talk about someday. DAFs are growing in popularity. More and more DAFs. Can I shamelessly plug, again, something I didn't prep you for? I'm sorry, but can I shamelessly plug a phenomenal resource on DAFs that, if you don't know Helen Brown, at the Helen Brown Group, they created a product called Definitive, which is incredibly helpful in your prospect research tools. So as you're doing your research, it's a great tool to add, and shout out to Helen for providing a great thing. But I think that you're absolutely right that the fundamental thing here is do your research, know
educate
your relationship.
Yourself.
Exactly.
There's trillions of dollars and billions of dollars out there. So it's not okay to say anymore, oh, well, we don't get a lot of DAFs.
Right.
You would want to receive lots of DAFs.
Indeed.
And so as we can help, not only are we here to give you a chuckle about being daffy and laffy taffy and all those things.
Right.
We're also here to help you out. And so, if we think about our members, we always love to call you in to help at fundraisingisfunny.com. And, we would love for you to tell us, how are you handling DAFs? What are some of your stories or maybe some of the great or hard lessons you've learned with DAFs at your organization? And also, the DAF folks are there to help too. They want to educate the community too. So, bring them in.
100%.
Bring them in.
Every time I have called Fidelity or any of the DAF providers, they are more than Schwab. They are more than helpful to provide that information, share what they can. They're there to help. So
they believe in nonprofits too.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. Yeah. I mean, the whole profit thing they really like. So
indeed.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Clay, for getting daffy with me this afternoon.
Anytime.
And I loved your story, and so we look forward to the rest of your stories, and maybe some of you have donor advisors yourself.
There you go.
Tell us your experience there, and some of you are at community foundations, and we love community foundations. We're happy to help and work with you in any way we can. So we'll talk to you all later, and until then, go find your favorite Laffy Taffy.
And take care of yourselves.